know they're gonna win.
Look. I'm glad you fired up. Because the next topic gonna have you even more fired up. So you ready?
Let's go.
All right. So I do want to start off by saying congratulations to one of the all-time greatest point guards of all time, Chris Paul. You get much respect. One of the greatest ever to do it. Top 3 New Orleans sports legend. To me, number 2. Them old school people gonna like Bobby Abe, Archie Manning and shit like that. But yeah, he don't trump Drew Brees, but he definitely above everybody else. Zion keep loving our food. He gonna make his way up there too.
Oh my God.
Man, that boy he need to leave them seafood potatoes alone, boy. God
boy,
damn.
that boy Chuck said looked like him and Shaq had a baby.
Like, that boy, he I ain't gonna lie, he on the thick side, but he like 20. So I'm like maybe once he get to working out, it's just gonna drop. So the Jordan shrug, and I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna be patient on that one because who is New Orleans to talk shit about a superstar? Like we talk shit, he might bounce. So
yeah, bro.
Zion,
we love you, we respect you, bro.
Yeah, but you know what? Sometime soon, I'm gonna make a New Orleans video about what the true problem with New Orleans is. But that's for another day. Chris Paul, congratulations, bro. You moved to number 3 on the all-time point guard on the all-time assist list. And of course, a few weeks ago, you was the first point guard to get the 20,000 mark and the 10,000 assists, 20,000 points, 10,000 assists. So you've been putting in work this year, a lot of milestones. So that's the question that everybody been asking: did Chris Paul move up on the all-time point guard list? Now, I think we both can agree he's top 10-ish. Got at least 11.
Oh man,
maybe 12. Maybe like at worst he top 15-ish. You know what I'm saying? At worst he top 15. Because you gotta think. Let's not disrespect point guards. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to disrespect the Walt Fraziers, the Tony Parkers of the world. We don't want to disrespect the Gary Paytons, the Russell Westbrooks. We don't want to disrespect those guys. You know what I'm saying? But to me, Paul definitely top 10 love. He one of those dudes who've been under the radar. He's been the perfect key piece for every team. If your team needs some wins, you call Chris Paul. You know what I'm saying? Like we can't get a championship, but what can we do to get some more wins? We call him Chris Paul. You know what I'm saying? We need somebody to talk. We need some State Farm commercial publicity. We call him Chris Paul. You know what I'm saying? We need some lives. So we need some intense defense. We call him Chris Paul. That's the guy. So I think he solidified himself in that top 10 point guard. I don't think he's top 5. I really don't think. Magic number 1 in most people's books. I'll say I can agree with that. Number 2, you want Steph or Isaiah? How people want to put it? I think Steph actually got Isaiah at this point, but I mean that's not a debate. Oscar Robertson, I think he deserved to be at number 4 for what he did. And number 5, this way you could start mentioning Chris Paul. It's a little bit of whisper about it, but I don't see why I put him above John Stockton. I don't see why I put him above Jason Kidd. He's in a conversation with Steve Nash. You know what I'm saying? Now you really think about Gary Payton's career, maybe he deserves to be looked upon, but I would probably edge Chris Paul with Gary Payton. I think Russell Westbrook, by the end of his career, he's never going to match Chris Paul while Chris Paul in the league, but by the end of Westbrook's career, he would have a debate towards Chris Paul. Walt Frazier, his 2 championships give him love, but I think he is going to get kind of erased with the come up of the point guards in the new era of basketball. So, yeah, I think Chris Paul is in that 6 to 9-ish area. So to me, before he did these accomplishments, I had him him in that same conversation. So if I won't conclude what I'm saying, I don't think he moved up on no point guard list. I actually think this was expected from him. He's not aggressive enough to take to where his body get banged up. He get banged up on his own if you really want to get into detail about Chris Paul, but yeah, him still being in the league, this is kind of expected for him to be that high up on the list. If he managed to get to the 201 spot, then we have a different conversation. But number 3, once you see how he started changing his career, he wasn't aggressive. He started playing smarter, but his assists only went down maybe 1 or 2. It's expected. So I'm not. Whoa, we should put him at top 5.
All right, so obviously Chris Paul is top 5. That's not really debatable. I don't see how it is something that you can possibly debate. I have Magic 1, Steph 2. I have Zeke 3, and after that, I can start talking about Chris Paul. I can give you the Oscar Robertson age, but I can debate him, and there's nobody else that we need to talk about. So
wait, there's a debate between Oscar and Chris Paul?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So I guess my question is, what puts Oscar Robertson over Chris Paul? Matter of fact, no, let's stop, because we're gonna get started on that. We'll put John Stockton over Chris Paul, because that's what we're gonna debate. Let's debate John Stockton over Chris Paul. Because one thing that I was watching basketball when John Stockton played. When has John Stockton never been the best player on his team? Just name 1 year.
I'm not even sure why that matters.
Well, no, I'm asking you 1 year that John Stockton was the best player on his team.
I can't name it.
Well, no, because he wasn't.
Okay.
He was never the best player on his team. Like, okay. John Stockton, the way that he played where he did what he was supposed to do, at a very elite level. So it was, when it came down to him scoring, he wasn't that much of a scorer. He was a really gifted passer, and he was when it came down to steals, that's what he did. So he was really great at passing. He was really great at playing the passing lane.
He got the most all the time.
He does.
He's the best at it.
Okay, cool. We can say that.
That's Chris Paul trying to reach that level.
I don't think he is. I don't think it's going to be hard for anybody to reach what John Stockton did as far as as far as the longevity of it. But
exactly,
that's cool. But there's no year, if we compare Chris Paul to John Stockton year by year, there's no year that you're going to pick John Stockton over Chris Paul. If we put their rookie years if we put their rookie years, you're not picking John Stockton over Chris Paul. Year 2, 3, 4, 5, you're not picking John Stockton over Chris Paul, period. Now, John Stockton, when it comes down to, he is probably one person who's averaged 14 assists. How many points did he average that season?
Wait, that matters?
No.
Wait. You're knocking somebody for the job.
No. What I'm saying is, John Stockton was, when it came down to John Stockton, like Jason Kidd.
4 of the top 5 are for John Stockton. 4 of the top.
No, I understand. How much did he average in points that season?
How about this? What was his field goal percentage? How about that? What is his field goal percentage?
What was it? Because we can look at Ben Simmons' field goal percentage. We talk about he's trash. Man averaged it was 57% field goal percentage or some shit like that. So I'm just saying, we talk about him like he's trash.
You can bring up Ben Simmons only on that, but he can't be in that conversation because he don't average that much assists.
I understand what you're saying. What I'm saying is, when it came to John Stockton, I'm not going to use this time to shit on Russ because I want to, but I'm not going to do that. But what I'm going to say is, Chris Paul can do everything that John Stockton can do, but he can score. And John Stockton couldn't, or John Stockton has never showed the ability to score consistently. That's not something that he really did. He facilitated the ball on an elite level, and we can say that he is one of the best to ever do it. We also have Chris Paul in that realm as well. So we talking about top five passes of all time. We're gonna have probably Magic, John Stockton, Chris Paul, Jason Kidd. Who else?
Are we talking strictly point guards?
No, just passing.
LeBron over Chris Paul.
Whatever. Cool. So we can have. Okay, LeBron's been in the league longer than Chris Paul. Chris Paul has more assists, less turnovers than LeBron.
You said better passer. You said better.
No, that's what we saying. No, but I'm saying how are we saying that John Stockton is one of the greatest passers ever if we're not using numbers? But then when it comes down to talking about numbers for Chris Paul, we're not going to use those because LeBron was drafted
if you want to use numbers, then you can't.
Wait. LeBron was drafted in 2003, right? Chris Paul was drafted in 2005. Chris Paul has more assists than LeBron, and Chris Paul has less turnovers than LeBron. So if we're looking at the best passers, we're gonna have Chris Paul over LeBron. Like, what criteria are you saying that LeBron is better than Chris Paul as far as passing?
If you want to go by that, that's fine. And
look, cool. And if you're gonna say that, then what makes then? And I want to ask you this because this is a real question. If that's the case, you tell me what criteria that you have LeBron over Chris Paul, and then tell me why isn't he over John Stockton? And the reason why, because you're going to use numbers when it comes down to Stockton. I'm saying you're going to use numbers when it comes down to Stockton, but you don't want to use numbers when it comes down to Paul.
I would take LeBron passing.
Get your
John Stockton. I would take LeBron. If you want to say who's a better passer, LeBron James and John Stockton. I have no problem saying it's LeBron James. No problem.
Okay, cool. I'm saying, so what are we saying that John Stockton does better than Chris Paul?
So are we going strictly off ability?
No, I'm asking you, what are we saying that John Stockton does better than Chris Paul? That's what I'm asking. Because when I look at it, like, I'm pretty sure Chris Paul has more all defensive teams than John Stockton. I'm pretty sure Chris Paul is first team NBA more than John Stockton. I think John Stockton is gonna have the assist titles. I think he's gonna have that. John Stockton gonna have steals titles. Yeah, he's gonna have that. Yeah, John Stockton gonna probably be there.
Yeah.
But then
the stuff that Chris Paul's trying to do. Chris Paul never tried to align himself as being a main scorer. Chris Paul aligned himself with being a savvy a facilitator and a defender. He is chasing John Stockton. This is why you can't just omit him. You can't omit that. Chris Paul is riding off of longevity too. Let's not act like he's doing this in the prime of his career. He's riding off of longevity too. So he's doing it. He's chasing just the ghost of John Stockton.
He's not. He's not chasing the ghost of John Stockton. He's not, bro. He's not.
What is Chris Paul trying to accomplish right now? What is he trying to accomplish?
He's trying to win a championship.
In the back in his career, as being a second option. Sounds like who?
Sounds like who? Who are you talking about?
That sounds like John Stockton. You think if Chris Paul, go ahead.
John Stockton was always the second option. When did John Stockton leave Utah to try to win a championship?
Chris Paul best championship situation was the second option.
So this, I guess, bro, we can go with this. But
I'm not saying he's been John Stockton his whole career. I'm saying now he's taking the John Stockton role.
No, he's taking as far as scoring. As far as scoring,
Chris Paul is never going to be known as a scorer.
No, that's not what I said. What I'm saying is, as far as scoring, he's taking the John Stockton role as far as scoring. Like, he's not scoring as much to, like, what do you mean is the John Stockton?
He's the second option. He's the second option. Like, John Stockton could have a 20-point game, but Karl Malone probably had a 30-point game. Chris Paul could have an 18-point game. Devin Booker had a 30-point game. He's the second option.
Okay, so cool. That's what you're saying. So let's be honest. When it comes down to everything that was the Suns last year, that team was was ran by Chris Paul. That's how the team. Chris Paul was the
He
most. Let me finish what I'm saying. So if we looking at the if we're looking at the person who was the most important piece to the Suns, it was Chris Paul. We being honest, and Devin Booker hadn't sniffed the playoffs. The playoffs, the best chance that he had in the playoffs was the bubble. That was the best chance that they had, and they went undefeated in the bubble, and they still didn't make the playoffs. So, like, how are we really saying, like, all of a sudden we gonna ignore the fact that Chris Paul goes everywhere and changes the trajectory of the team automatically, but we're not gonna say that was Chris. Hold on, wait, we're not gonna say that was Chris Paul, but at the same time, Devin Booker has been there for 5 years and has not sniffed the playoffs. We gonna put it on Devin Booker. Like, I think
I didn't put it on Devin Booker.
no, I'm saying what you trying to do is you trying to give Devin Booker the credit to take it away from Chris Paul. Let's be
Chris
honest
Paul
here.
deserves he
No,
deserves
but I'm
every
saying
credit he deserves. But I'm not gonna
no,
say he's the number one option of the Suns. He's not the number one
no,
option.
he is, but he shouldn't be. Far as
You
and if
you
you
credit
are you
so
talking
much
about
to
number one
wins.
option,
It's ridiculous.
are you
The most
saying number one
emptiest
option for
wins go to Chris
scoring?
Paul. If there was a championship, if there was a trophy for the emptiest wins, it goes to Chris Paul. I'm like
What?
this notion that he turns the team into a winning team. He brings his environment, and then we all shut the fuck up in the playoffs because he either
wait,
come
wait,
up
wait,
short
wait,
or he get hurt.
wait, 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 but listen, hey, we can talk about
It's
him getting
empty
hurt. But
wins.
wait,
Let's go.
wait,
Let's
didn't
go.
wasn't
Let's
you
go through
giving
the
Russ
options.
love for the
Let's
Wizards?
let's
No,
go
but
through
I'm
the
saying, wasn't
options.
you giving Russ love for the Wizards making it to the playoffs? What seed was they? There was the eighth or the seventh?
Yeah.
No, you was
And
giving
Chris,
Russ love for that. No, but I'm saying you was
same love
giving
I
Russ
give
love
Chris
for that.
Paul. The
But I'm
same love I
but I'm
give Chris Paul.
no,
The same exact
so
love.
I'm
Same
saying
love. Chris Paul.
I'm and cool.
Look. Let's go through the motions. Hornets. He made them a great team. Where they got to second round of the playoffs. Clippers was a championship team. As much as you won't sit there and try to like neglect that there was a championship team. The Warriors beat them. Why did the Warriors beat them? At that time, Chris Paul was the best point guard in the league. Still came up short. Houston Rockets. He got hurt. Okay, came up short. Phoenix Suns. He finally broke through the second round. Congratulations, bruh. Chris Paul's a great point guard, but here's one of my
Where year the
biggest
Warriors
takes on
beat them?
Chris Paul.
Where year the Warriors beat them?
14, 15.
Where year the Warriors won the championship?
Who problem that is?
Yeah, no, I'm saying that's the year the Warriors won the championship.
So look, I'm glad you said that. So that brings me to this
Wait,
point.
wait, 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 wait.
Hold up, hold up.
I
This
have a
brings me to
question. I
this
have a
point.
quick question. Quick question. Quick question.
Go ahead.
Who is the MVP that year?
14, 15.
Yeah,
Was it Steph? Was it Steph?
I think it was Steph. I'm
It
pretty
was
sure it
Steph.
was
All
Steph.
right. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. So check this out.
yeah.
I'm glad you said that. So remember the image you sent me one time of the best point guards in the league by each year? Do you remember that
I
image you
don't
sent
remember
me?
it, but I do. I probably did. And yeah, what
All right.
we
So
talking about?
I want the audience to hear this. I want you to, and I want everybody to picture this. From 1980 to 2020, picture the best point guard in the league by year. Best point guard, best point guard, best point guard. Arguably, Paul is the worst one. If you want to say Derrick Rose,
Oh man.
where his career went after the
Oh
injury,
man.
that's fine.
That's funny.
Steve Nash, when he was running the league, was an MVP. Russ, when he had his best year, was an MVP. Steph, Magic, Jason Kidd got his team to the finals when he was the best point guard in the league. Gary Payton, John Stockton, when these dudes the best point guard in the league, they actually did more than Chris Paul. So, yeah, I could argue that 08 Chris Paul, which is probably his best year. Or maybe what, 2011, 2012? I'm not sure which one is Chris Paul's best year, but as far as quote unquote best
Okay,
point guards in the league,
going.
he probably was the worst one.
Okay, so we giving John Stockton credit for 97, 98. John Stockton was the number one option
What
at
his
that
numbers
time,
look
right?
like? What his numbers look
What
like?
what does his numbers look like?
All right,
What does
I'll
his
look it
numbers
up.
look like?
I'll look it up. Not a thing. But go ahead, continue.
But I'm saying we giving John Stockton that credit for those years, but he was the number one option. I'm just
97,
wondering.
98. He wasn't the number one option.
Yeah,
97, 98.
like
He averaged 97, 98. 14 and 10. No, I'm sorry. Actually, he averaged 12 and 8.
in 97, 98.
Yeah. Was he the best point guard in
Okay.
97, 98? Or was it Gary Payton? Or was it Jason Kidd?
It could have probably been Jason Kidd. Nah, he averaged that's 14 and 10. He averaged 14 and 10. He averaged 14 and 10 both years. You probably talking about the playoffs. Because yeah, I don't think he was the best point guard. I think he's getting that longevity love. Like once you just look back at
Yeah,
the point guards
I'm
at
not
that
sure about
time.
97, 98. It could have been Gary Payton or Jason Kidd, but
What about
go ahead.
96, 97? No, I'm saying if we just talking about what he did as the best point guard, like what did John Stockton do as the best point guard? Because that's what we debating. We debating Chris Paul and John Stockton. You have John Stockton in the fifth position. So
you want to pick on that man?
No, I am picking on that man because when it comes down to him, if you have him in your
Chris
fifth
Paul
position,
best year? What was Chris Paul best
his
year?
best year?
Yeah.
His best year was 08.
08?
Yeah.
His numbers look like 08.
I want to say 23. No, it's like 22 and 10. 22 and 11.
10.
Yeah.
22 and 11. And I got 17 and 14 and a half in 1990.
Okay.
I'm
and
trying
what they did in
to
1990. Cool. What they did in 1990.
The Jazz? Let's see. 1990. Let's
First
see.
round.
First round exit?
Yeah.
The Phoenix Suns, yeah. All right.
So I'm saying, like, I'm saying, what we really saying about John Stockton? Like, John Stockton has never led his team.
He never, but that wasn't
as
his
the
role.
first. No, I'm saying he was never.
Really
He was
knocking
never the
somebody
first
because
option.
it's not their role.
No, I understand what you're saying. So, and we look at things different, right? I value dominance. You value longevity, and that's cool. But when it comes down to me valuing,
I know how to mix both.
No, I'm saying
I'm not one-sided.
So
you know,
I understand, but I'm saying if we're gonna compare Chris Paul to John Stockton should have all of the longevity numbers. So all of those career attributes, yes, he's going to have that.
He's losing longevity too.
He's who's played longer, John Stockton or Chris Paul? Who's played more games? Who's played more games?
I'm about to look it up.
You don't have to look it up. We know John Stockton's played more games than Chris Paul. We know this. That's not really an issue. But if we really just talking about the fact that if we look at first team NBA,
dude, Chris Paul played 2 less seasons.
Cool. So cool. How many more games did John Stockton play?
Playoffs? That's just
just games. No, just games.
I don't show games on Land of Basketball. Shout out to Land of Basketball.
So, but if we just looking at it, like Chris Paul gonna have more all NBA teams, more all defensive teams. Like this is what Chris Paul did. He was a better two-way player over the course of their career. Chris Paul is a better option as far as scoring and passing and like that. So if we're gonna use,
I agree with the passing option.
Oh, I said scoring and passing. I'm like putting those together. I'm not saying like a dual threat. He's a better dual threat.
That's just saying he's a better scorer, dude. I just saying he's a better scorer. That's not saying that he's a better passer.
No, I'm saying John Stockton is way more one-dimensional than Chris Paul. That's what I'm saying. Like when it comes down to John Stockton being like, has John Stockton ever like what his career high is in
17
in points? 17. Okay, that's not bad.
Again,
I think that's Chris Paul. I think that's Chris Paul average. That's his career average. You know.
I don't understand why
No,
if his
I'm just
role.
asking. No, I'm asking a question.
Okay, so all right, so if you're going by strictly what he done as the man, I don't want to go too much longer because we've been going for almost 30 minutes on this. But if we go by strictly what they do as the man, I don't understand why Jason Kidd is not top five on Oscar Robertson is not your top five above Chris Paul as the man. Oscar
No.
Robertson.
So
Okay, go
as
ahead.
the man, Oscar Robertson did what?
I mean, didn't he win the MVP? Didn't
Did
he
he?
get his team?
I
Didn't
think
he
he
get
did.
his
He
team?
did.
Didn't he get his team to the finals?
Did he? Did he?
Something to that nature. Because
I don't
the
think he got
Sixers,
to the finals.
the Sixers weird. The conference finals, some type of shit like that. But his team,
Yeah, they
his
only
team
had
was a
two.
legit. Well, I
Yeah,
can't say legit threat with 8 teams, but
no,
there
that's
was
what I'm
a
saying.
top team.
They 8 teams. You had one round before the finals at some point.
And,
So it
and
was
then
like
and, then-
you.
and then you look
So
at his numbers. You look at his numbers as the
okay,
man. He pretty much was one of the best players in the league. And
Listen,
if you
I
look at
understand
Jason
what you're
Kidd as the
saying.
man, the 2 trips to the finals, you can knock the conference all you want, but again, that's all he could do is the best thing he could do is get his team to the finals. So
Well, no. So
I'm trying to figure out
So listen.
as the
We
man, Russ
engage.
got an MVP.
Listen. So,
As the man, Russ got an
again. So
MVP. As the man,
again,
Chris Paul
MVP.
got.
All right. So this is what we're doing. So I want to make one argument at a time because you're just trying to
Okay, hold
throw
on, no, all
shit
right, all
out
right.
there. So one argument at a time.
We got,
So look,
okay,
we done with this.
All right, that's my bad for trying to continue to the other topics. We gotta stay on track. Get your closing verse about CP3. You're not going to include all these other point guards. Get your closing verse about Chris Paul. I'll give my closing verse, and we'll move to the next one.
All right. So, well, no, I'm gonna let you go first on this one. Go ahead, hand it
All
back.
right. All jokes aside, Chris Paul is a top 10 point guard. I don't think he's top 5. I think if you think about what Chris Paul is known for, I think he's actually on the chase of people like John Stockton and Jason Kidd. There's nothing wrong with that. I joke about the top 15 thing. He's definitely a top 10. But all jokes aside, one thing I do when I talk about my best players of all time, I consider dominance and resume. Those are 2 things I consider both. And when you bring in resume, Chris Paul could arguably be in the top 15. So, but with his accomplishments, he solidified top 10 to me. He in that, like I said, debatable 6 to 10 area. And that's pretty much it. He didn't move up on my list. He in that same debatable area. I have yet to put my list together since I first did
All right.
it.
All right. So, Chris Paul is obviously top 5 player of all time, and I'm gonna say that the only people who we can argue above him is Zeke, Steph, Magic, and Oscar. That's it. That's the only people we can argue above him. Nobody else is able to do what Chris Paul did, and the only nobody else has had more success in the role that Chris Paul has played for as long as Chris Paul has done it. Like we have Jason Kidd. He's and I'm not going to go too much on this, but it's like we have some people who have done great things for a very short period of time, and we have some people who have done great things for a longer period of time. But when it comes down to all around consistency for the longest period of time, we have Chris Paul being one of those elite players for the longest period of time. Now, when it comes down to certain players, we could argue different things, and just giving you for example, one of the things that people argue about the numbers in the 60s. The numbers in the 60s are inflated. We know this. Like, just name one other time that they had 5 people who averaged 30 in the league. Like, name one other. There's only 8 teams. So if you was a leading scorer, it was a good chance. It was over 50% of the teams in the league had a player who were averaging 30. So if we put that if we compare that to today, where I think there's 30 teams in the NBA, at least that would be like 18 people averaging 30. How many people averaging 30 today? Nobody. Like usually we would have maybe like one or two. We had two last year, right? Yeah. But this is just for the fact that the numbers in the 60s were inflated. And it's not because they were having these amazing shooting performances. They didn't even have a 3-point line. They just shot the ball so goddamn much. So that's just what it is. But go ahead. Y'all let us know what y'all think in the comments below.
Yes,
Where Chris Paul at on your list?
please. Yes. Let us know where he was at before his accomplishments, his recent accomplishment, and let us know if he moved up on the list. Like I said, I don't think I'm disrespecting Chris Paul. I think